You are here because the outside world rejects you.
Let's do it.
Okay, so when I'm setting up a cage for a North American cluebrid, whether it be a king snake, milk snake, corn snake, rat snake, this is what I like to do. All right, so you asked the question. I'm going to answer it the best I can. I haven't had Mexican blacks in a long time, but they are a North American cluebrid, so therefore their care is very, very much on par with lots of other things. Not this guy, but corns, kings, milks, rat snakes, those kind of animals. So I'm not sure exactly what you know and don't know. I'll just do a quick recap of their basic care and husbandry needs. And you can ask any more specific questions if I miss something that you need more info on. But, so you're going to set up a cage, something like that. I'll cut in here, or maybe it'll be on YouTube. I don't know yet. Ambient temperature around 80 degrees, give or take a little bit. Warm spot 85 to 90 to create hot spots or the warm end. I've been using these. I like the way those things are working. I have one on here for this lady. Humidity 40 to 60%. But when you notice the animal's in blue, you should bump it up. Ideally, you should have a humid height or a humid spot for them to go to get elevated, so you don't have to make the whole cage like 90%. Daytime highs, we did that. Nighttime drops, you can drop back to 75, but I wouldn't go lower than that. Let's see, they're going to eat appropriate sized foods for the size of the snake. And it's a king snake, so it's going to eat pretty much everything, whether it's lizards, birds, eggs, rodents. Rodents will be the easiest to get a hold of, but they're king snakes. They're rarely are they picky. Cage size, I don't like to use anything smaller than like a 40-gallon breeder. I know the internet will say 20 longs, but 20 longs are for like yearling snakes, but 40-gallon breeder equivalency is doable. I always do bigger if you got the space. Bigger is better. I know some people will get gripe not to make it too big, but remember, if they weren't in your care and they were in the wild, they literally have the world. So I don't believe in the too big stuff. If you have adequate cover, there is no such thing as too much space. So those are kind of just the basic rundown of keeping basically a North American cluebrid. Again, so if there's anything more specific, just ask the question. I'll do the best to answer it. There will be a slightly longer version of this on YouTube, so go check that out. Should be a link up there somewhere in the bio, and I'll go more in depth on this cage over there, because it'll look better on a horizontal video than it will on these verticals. So yeah, thanks for the question. Have any more? Feel free to ask. Okay, so when I'm setting up a cage for a North American cluebrid, whether it be a king snake, milk snake, corn snake, rat snake, this is what I like to do. I like to have a lot of stuff because they like to feel hidden and secure. So we got plenty of hiding places, all these little nooks and crannies. They can go inside cork tubes, tuck up under here, back here. Let me see. Sphagnum moss, that's kind of like my humid hide, if you will, that stays extra humid. And we just have all these little cracks and crevices for them to hide in. This cork, in between here, down in between there, even the water dish I cut so they can go underneath there. Obviously we have no water, but we also have nobody living in this. Create a nice little basking spot, and I like to use this. I don't know too much about them, so I'm not going to be go in depth on them, but these are what I've been working with lately, and I love it. And then we got full spectrum lighting, because sometimes I do have live plants in here, but this is what I like. I like it to be a little bit chaotic. I don't like that sterile, like hide water dish. That's too sterile. They like in the wild, they want to be tucked up and hidden, in debris and brush piles and things like that. So I like to recreate that. So whether it's a king snake or corn snake or milk snake or hognose snake, this is kind of stuff they like. So this is how I like to set up mine. Now this would be for a younger snake. This is an adult size cage, because it's like a 20 long, but it's slightly taller. I think if it were a fish tank and not an open front enclosure, I think it's like 30 gallons or something. But a decent enough footprint for something that's a year old to maybe 3, depending on its size. But it's 24 inches long. So a snake that exceeds that would definitely need to be bumped up. But that's how I would set up the environment. Something like this. And you can exchange these fake plants for live plants. I like to do a mix of both, because sometimes live plants will get beat up and not thrive. So you still have that look. And the snake wants to bask out, there you go. Obviously it's open for feeding. You get in there and feed them. Usually they'll just pull it back underneath there. But yeah. So this is what I like to do. All right, so I don't know any breeders offhand. They used to be bred a lot, and then things happen because fads change. Then they weren't very common, and then the price went up. So then everybody wanted to start breeding them again, and I think they're back in that decline again. So I don't know anybody specific. What I would suggest is to go to local either reptile stores, shops, or more importantly, go to like expos and just talk to people in your area. That way you can find somebody. I'm not going to say too much about these people. Go look up reviews. I'm neutral. I have nothing involved with them. So, but yeah, look for somebody at a local reptile show close to you, and try to connect with somebody that way.